Hey, hey, everybody, Brian here. Hey, so yep, it's been a hot minute. Been a hot minute since I've been on live streams, and that's quite simply because I had to go to North Carolina and visit a client up there because we're getting ready to do a very large project for them. And yeah, so it kind of took me away from my live streaming because I don't have quite the setup there as I do here to actually do these live streams. So yeah, so who the hell am I? So my name is Brian Deckard. I am the owner, designer, and developer over here at Deckard and Company. We're a small boutique marketing agency located just south of Tampa in that beautiful city called Bradenton, which is on the Gulf side of Florida. Yeah. And it's one of those things, what do we do? Right here. So we do website design, management, social media marketing and management, hosting, online visibility, which is that SEO, copywriting services, videography. Yeah, marketing stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we do all that good stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of me in a nutshell. And I got this new, well, I wouldn't say new. I've got this um, platform that I've decided to go back to, which is Prism Live Studio. And why is that? It's quite simply the fact that the video quality is so much better using this Prism Live Studio, which is basically like an OBS, right? Um, it just, I think, in my opinion, it just works better for me and all that good stuff. Um, and the reason I was a couple of minutes late getting into this is because I had to make some changes to kind of my layout and how I do things. Because one thing that I've always wanted was the ability to bring in from the chat, um, you know, questions or comments or whatever individually, which, it's kind of cool. So we'll see how this works because I installed something today and that's why I was late. That's why I was late. Because I was putting in this new little plug-in into my Prism here that's going to allow me to bring in individual comments or questions. Okay, I think that's pretty cool, right? Yep. And today, like I said, there's no agenda, kind of like Mark over at Wiki Designs. You and Barbara have this little thing where you guys hop on and just shoot the poo. Love that. So I kind of am stealing this today from you guys because, like I said, it's been like 3 weeks since I've gone live and I just wanted to get on here and, well, shoot the poo, dust the cobwebs off, and get ready for my live streams on Monday. So my marketing Mondays, which is every Monday at 3:30. So that's kind of why I kept this time slot today at 3:30, which, as you saw, I was still a couple of minutes late getting going because I forgot to do something. So here we are. So what I'm testing here, though, is to see if this thing is working. So what I want to look at is to see if, and I don't know if it's going to pull it in because there's another way to do it. So I'm kind of going over here on Facebook. So if you're over on Facebook, head over to my YouTube channel, and subscribe. It's just helping a small business. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel. And what better way to help a small business than to what's up? Hey, buddy. So I am so happy that you hopped in here because I'm going to get to test out this new little thing that I got, which you guys have on your live feed, which is this. Right? Yeah, happy to see you guys on here. And, or at least, I don't know if this is Mark or Barbara. Probably Mark, I'm assuming. But either way, happy to have you on here. And you guys, you're my first little tester of this stupid little thing here, which is just to be able to bring that comment over live and not have to do a whole scroll of stuff. And yeah, you do use Ecamm now. The problem with me, I can't use Ecamm because I'm not a Mac person. Never have been a Mac. I've tried it. I've tried iPhones 3 times, failed miserably every single time. Every single time. Just can't get into it. Could not get into it. And even when I had my iPhone, my wife's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because, we've always been Android. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. And it just fails freaking miserably. Fails miserably every time. Yep. Pretty crazy stuff. Okay. So this is kind of neat. I'm not quite sure how you get, there we go. I just have to click it again. Sorry. Yeah, this is new to me. So if I screw it up, that's what live streams are for, to mess your crap up. Yeah. So basically all I'm going to talk about today is I'm just going to run through a few, because I've been a busy man, what's this? I'm going all in on Mac now. Yeah. I saw that on your last live stream that I finally got to get on. I was up there in North Carolina and I saw that you're going all in on Mac. Hey, that's cool because I've always liked Mac computers. It's just everything that I have is just all PC based, So I just don't want to make that leap, and to see your videos that you've been doing using the Ecamm, I think they look really good, because what I've been finding is, and the reason that I went back to this Prism Live Studio is the video quality on so I was using EV Mux, and that was the better one. I've tried StreamYard, I've tried a couple of others, and yes, you are 100% correct on this right here. 100% correct. And that's probably part of the whole problem. But yeah, when I went to those browser-based things like EV Mux, their compression was terrible. So when it would pop over here to the YouTube live stream, it was terrible quality. It would skip. It would go into focus, out of focus, pixelate, come back. And it's like, what the freaking hell is going on with my video? But what I like about Prism here is it uses my gaming computer, which I have down here, and it just works. I mean, it's a powerhouse, and I can upload these amazing quality videos. The video quality is, yeah, I do like the end of this. Still look like 1995. Yeah. For those of us that have been around and remember that stuff, that's pretty crazy. Right? Pretty crazy. Ugh. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so that's why I went back to Prism Live Studio, is the video quality. I just like it because I just couldn't get past that buffering and stuff like that going through a browser-based system. So, and like with you guys with that Ecamm, I don't see much of that at all, which, not gonna lie, makes me jealous. So now I'm back to Prism. So I'm up there in the quality again. It's just some of the things make it harder. Like this, bringing in a message, an individual message. You have to use a plugin for that, which I finally found, and it's installed. So I was happy to try it with you guys. So it's pretty cool stuff. Yep. So yeah, so my visit up to North Carolina wasn't a fun trip. Granted, I did get to go on a very nice hike with Russell and I, my morale officer. And but it was 2 weeks of working. And in 2 weeks, I was able to pop out several websites, which I guess when it's just you and your hound dog Russell, you can get a lot done, and especially when it's cold outside and you don't want to go outside because it's so damn cold, well, it makes it real nice and easy to pop out some stuff, you know. So yeah, someone says, I want to know. Yeah, yeah, your comment stuff is very cool, and that's the it's this right here, right? This right here, and was the reason that I went to try EVMux, which is that browser-based system. But there's also, in order to bring, a collaborator in with you, a guest, with those browser-based systems, they make it so easy, whereas with like Prism Live Studio or OBS, you kind of have to go a roundabout way to do it. But I'm okay with that. you know, and most of your visitors, that you're going to bring on shouldn't have a problem with it. And if they do, then you probably don't want to have them as a visitor, and it's just as simple as they just have to go to to their browser, go to this website, which is a link basically that I pull in, and it pops the video and audio and all that stuff. I mean, it really, and I've tested it. It is really, really pretty nice, but you don't have all the little bells and whistles like you would in, like an Ecamm or EVMux or StreamYard or Restream or whatever the hell you're using. Yeah. So there you go. But yep. So yeah. So I popped out a few websites, and I'm getting ready. So that big project I'm doing in North Carolina, I'm getting ready to do 2 more websites for this one company, and it's a steakhouse. And just look at this fine specimen of a man here. I'm all about steaks. So so when I got this gig, it was like, oh yeah, baby. And it's one of my favorite steakhouses up where we have a house in North Carolina, which is the northwest corner, right like 10 minutes from Roan Mountain, Tennessee. And that's where the steakhouse is. And so we're going to redo all their online presence with that steakhouse, which is called the Americano Steakhouse. But then they're branching out, creating another steakhouse, which is a Prime Steakhouse, and it's going to be in Johnson City, Tennessee. And that's going to be called Jackson's Prime. So we're going to be doing that website. Actually, that website's going to go up first. So because they're in the process of building that out and all that stuff. So we got to get them ready for their online presence. You know how that goes. So yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. And so I'm just going to go through a couple of websites that I was able to pop out pretty quickly, while I was up there. And then also kind of want to talk about how you can capture, I guess you could, leads and stuff like that through your website in a way that I like. You might not like it, because there's so many of these platforms out there that make it pretty easy, to do your newsletters, do whatever you're going to do. And I just wanted to kind of touch base on what I like, when it comes to capturing those leads on your website. So, all right, let's check it out. Oh, and then I got these cool little scenes, so I get to create all my little scenes. So I got this one. Yeah, I got some funny faces. I know. So a little zoomed in view. I think this looks pretty good. But this is obviously where I'm going to stick out most of the time, because I don't think anybody really wants to look at this stuff all the time. So yeah, so without further ado, let's head over here and let's get off of our website. So the first website I'm just going to go over real quick, and they are in the running for an award. So you need to head over, and I'll show you that where you need to go and vote. You get to vote free once per day. So you got to vote for these folks. And who are they? Right here. Blue Collar Roofing. They're right here in Bradenton, Florida. And I was able to pop this website out in just a few days. Now, the nice thing is they, the reason that I can pop these websites out so quickly is Kind of like you guys over at Wiki Design. I don't start anything until I've got everything, logos, copy, images, any graphics that they may have, all that stuff. It's, you have to have a process. And if you don't stick with the process, you can get your butt in trouble. And your 1-2 week, maybe 3 week project can turn into 6 weeks to several months because you're waiting on the client to get you stuff, your assets. And they may tell you they're ready. They're ready to get this project going right now. They want it done. But in reality, a lot of times their priorities are not your priorities, and that's what I found. The priorities are whacked. Then you look at them, you're like, what? I thought you wanted this done quickly. Yet I've asked you 3 times for your logo. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you are an up and coming freelancer wanting to start your own agency, don't outsource. Don't outsource your crap. Do it yourself. So come up with a process, stick with the process, and just like you and Mark and Barbara over there, my process is I don't start it until I've got everything, because otherwise you're just going to be pulling your hair out. I mean, look at this. It's freaking terrible. Okay, so here it is. So Blue Collar Roofing, and what they are in the running for is this right here, Bradenton's Best. This will be their 3rd or 4th year winning this thing. So we're pulling for them. So I've got all my peoples getting on here and voting for them. And it's just, gotta get the victories when you can. So here you go. So you would basically go into the home and garden and scroll down to roofing company. And here's all these roofing companies in Bradenton that's trying to get this coveted award. So we, of course, obviously have to vote for right here, Blue Collar. But I've already voted today, so I can't do it. Yeah. And thank you, Mark. 100%. Let me back out here. Right there. Amen to no outsourcing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I can't stand outsourcers. If you can't do the work, don't get into our line of business. Although it's quite fun, I've had some people ask me to do outsourcing to, white labeling my services for them. And I'm like, well, I'm really honestly not set up for that. And I don't even know what to charge or anything like that. I haven't really looked into it, but I have had several asks, people asking me to get in there and basically, will you build websites for us? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Now, I just had one because I used to do government work as well for the state of Florida. And through some programs through Florida would help startups. So I was one of their resources and was able to do that, which was kind of cool, but also kind of frustrating in a way. But this company that wanted me to white label my services was in Texas, and but their deadline was coming up, so I didn't have enough time, and they didn't have enough time, and we kind of realized that. So yeah. So think about that though. You could white label your services to some of these goobers that like to outsource. Yeah, pretty crazy. Okay. Next website right here. Why not rent a boat? Right? So come down here to Florida. The best thing about Florida is we live right on the water. So to be able to rent a pontoon boat is pretty awesome. So love that. Oh, what's this? Oh, you guys. Oh, that I do remember you guys talking about. You guys did some quite a bit of this white labeling. Yeah. That's that is great advice. That's great advice. So, um, the white label client, if we just met, you wouldn't take him if you just met. That is great advice because this person here reached out to me on LinkedIn and she seemed very, she was very nice, you know, but just the fact that her deadline was literally 3 weeks for this government website. And it was the city of, I can't remember now, Galveston, I think. I mean, it was a big city. It was a big city. And I was like, 3 weeks and we haven't even, yeah, I'm like, we don't have enough time for that. So yeah, but yeah, great advice right here. Yeah. Um, White label, but yeah, like, like when it comes to this, do you charge a certain percentage? I mean, how do you do it? I'd love to pick your brain one day, Mark, or Barbara. I'm assuming this is Mark, but I'd love to pick your brain on how you came up with your fees for your white labeling, because if I keep getting these requests for me, because normally I just say, no, I don't do that. But I would, because I'm always trying to help somebody out. Even though it's detrimental to Brian, I'm always trying to help people out. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. Okay, so let's go take a look. So here's, like I said, here's their website. So I was able to pump this out in just a couple of days. Once again, had all the content. All I had to do is make their website prettier, so, and it makes it pretty nice. And this is the boat that I recommend. Just because it's got a bigger motor, man. I mean, come on, 175 horsepower. Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's a tri-tune, so it makes it nice and easier. So yeah, so here we go. So not bad at all. All right, so here's a fun one. This right here is the Al Hoots Hole in the Head Gang. So this is an old western. Um, they do reenactments. And they get to do train robberies, which I got to put together this video for them of one of their train robberies, and I just thought it was fun as hell. Plus, I got to dress up with the cowboy hat. I look really good with a cowboy hat. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, was to be able to design this website for them, to basically show off their stuff. And now it's been turned over to them, so they've been in here kind of making some changes, like this thing right here. They just have it in the middle of nowhere, but they were able to do it, so that's a good thing. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. Shows their upcoming events, all that good stuff. Pretty cool. All right, next one here is Grateful Hearts at Home. So this is also Bradenton based, and they do some really cool. It's not, because it's weird. It's homemaker and companion services, so it's not like your full blown. I don't know what you would call it, where they come and medically help seniors or people with disabilities. They come and they do all their, they help them with all their daily chores so that they can stay home, which is pretty cool. So I really enjoyed putting this website together for Miss Layla. She's pretty awesome. Um, you know, she had this vision and we went with it, and here she is. So it's very cool. Love working on this website. Very good stuff. And what are you seeing here? Let me see. Only a flat rate is an hourly rate. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah. The Al Hoots one, yeah, Mark. That was a fun website. I just love goofy stuff like that. That is fun. But when let's go here. So when we get back to the the charging for white labeling. I like this. So a flat rate. Okay, normally a flat rate just at our it kind of depends on the product. Yeah, okay. So I think we might have been on the same wavelength because I was probably thinking that, this project would normally be this, and then I would give them a kind of a percentage kind of a thing off because more than likely they're going to try to charge more is probably what I'm gathering, right? So it'd be interesting to see how that works. So yeah, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's take a look at another website. So this one here is On My Perch. So this one here was very interesting to me because the person here, I got to be discreet. The person here came to me because they are not a private investigator. They do these behavioral observation service, which I was like, what? But it really is so it's like basically a step before the private investigator, because their fees are up there where this person's fees are not quite there because it's a different service, right? It's a different license. So this person's able to go and do all these observation things. So if you think you're being cheated on or unfaithfulness, that kind of stuff, you hire On My Perch, and they go and get you all the pictures and video and all that stuff to hopefully put your mind at ease that it's not happening. But of course, we all know it does happen out there because people are turd buckets. And that's just the way it is. Yep. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Credit Vibin. So they're out of Tennessee. They're right outside of Chattanooga. And so she came to me needing a website for her credit repair service that she provides. But then she kind of morphed into, just over the week or so that I worked on her website, she started adding more services. So I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but it's pretty cool. So if you need bookkeeping, she's phenomenal. She actually has taken over my books, for Deckard and Company. Very good at what she does. So if you need a bookkeeper, right there. Yeah, she's pretty awesome. Yeah, pretty awesome. Credit repair, bookkeeping services. Yep, good stuff. Yeah, and these are, like I said, what makes it nice about doing these kinds of websites is, they're informational websites. None of them had anything, where I had to go and pull in Croco blocks, for any kind of directories or any kind of dynamic content. I didn't have to do any of that with these. That's why I was able to pump them out so quickly. So it works out pretty good. All right, last one I'll show you here is this one, Big South Lawn and Landscape. They're right here in Bradenton, Florida as well. They do irrigation, lawn care, all that stuff. And these folks are pretty cool. Yeah. Love this company. They've been around for quite a while now, and they needed, that upgraded look from their old websites, which most of these websites came from an older website. And yeah, they weren't so good, but and like I always say, I will never ever harp on someone for doing a website on their own, because a lot of startups just simply don't have the capital, to pay a professional to design or develop their website. So you're going to go and try it yourself. Now here's my suggestion. If you do that, if you're one of those persons, I will never harp on you for that. However, if you're looking down the road, which you should be, when you're coming up with a business plan, you should always have, your goals, your 2-year goal and your 5-year goal. Where do you want to be in 2 to 5 years. You're going to want your online presence and your marketing to be working for you, right? So stay away from Wix, stay away from Weebly, Squarespace, all those do-it-yourselfers, because you're stuck on their proprietary system and you are stuck. They suck. They're, they're a great way to get something up quickly, but when it comes time for you later down the road, which is usually a year or two down the road, you're looking at, okay, now I need to look better. I need to look more professional. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to reach out to a website designer or a developer, and they're going to say, yeah, we're going to design this website in WordPress, because that's just the way it is. WordPress is huge, so I would suggest, if you're creating a website on your own, go with WordPress right from the start, because as your content builds, it's going to make it really nice and easy to convert that website to something that's really nice. Yeah, really nice. And just so much easier, and here's the other thing. Another reason that I don't like, the Wix, the Weebly, the Squarespace, all those proprietary systems, is because, like I said, you're stuck. When you finally get fed up with paying for their service, you never show up well in the search rankings, and you can't figure out why. You can't take your website to another host. You're stuck. You're stuck. So does that mean that you own your website? Hell no. No. If you're stuck with them, you don't own your website. You might own the content on so said website. But even then, if they deem that your stuff is no longer meeting their their requirements or whatever, they can shut your right off. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. So my suggestion, go with WordPress, do it right from the start. Yeah, it's a little more difficult, to get things going, but there's so many great page builders. Elementor Pro. That's what we use here. Love that builder. There's others out there, and they do make it easier to create websites. No matter which one you use, but I would recommend Elementor. It's popular. It's very popular. There's others coming up, and we'll see how they do, but I'll be sticking with Elementor for quite some time. I'm pretty sure. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so that's really it. The biggest thing is, if you're visiting us on I like to call it the rerun, do that right there. Subscribe to our channel. Helps a small business out. We're just trying to grow our YouTube channel like everybody else. So yeah, so it's pretty good stuff. And I'm looking forward to future live streams. Now that I'm back here in Florida, I'll hit you up on Monday, but I'm also going to try to do live streams more frequently, and try to find a time slot that works better. So that's what I'm currently looking at, is different time slots, because 3:30, we'll see. I do like 3:30, but that just works for me. But I want to try to get more viewers in here on the live, so I can live chat with you now that I have this cool little thing right here. Right? Love that. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for popping in here. Mark, it was awesome chatting with you, my friend. Hopefully the weather's getting better for you up there. We're in your neck of the woods, and the weather down here is definitely getting hot. So, but up there in North Carolina, where I just left, it was beautiful, which I was very sad to leave. Yeah, and so was Russell. When we got home, the next day was Easter, and we always go to a state park here, and we have our Easter dinner and all that stuff. And it was so hot. Russell, I thought was not liking it. He was not in puppy heaven. Let's put it that way. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. And you too, take it easy, and you guys behave. and I will chat with you all later. Hey, thanks for watching. Bye now.